Hey everyone, it's Amanda. Welcome back to my channel. You guys already know what today's video is. It's my September plan with me. I'm going to be setting up my bullet journal for the month of September, so sit back, relax. You can grab a snack. You can also set up your bullet journal and kind of do it along with me if you want. But of course, before we get into it, I love to showcase your guys' recreations of my bullet journal from last month. A bunch of the recreations will be above me. As usual, if you guys want to send me pictures of your recreations, you can tag me in the photo on Instagram at AmandaHDoodles. Make sure to tag me in the photo, not just the caption, because then I can like all of them and comment on all of them and share the love with y'all. You guys always do amazing things and add your little personal touches to my bullet journal themes, which I love to see, so keep sending those in and maybe yours will be in the next video. But for September's theme, I actually asked you guys in a poll on Twitter what theme you guys would want to see, and you guys chose succulents / cacti, and it was a very close race, might I add, so I will be doing the other theme next, but for this month, we're just going with succulents. So I hope you guys enjoy my September plan with me. Be sure to stick around to the end because I'm doing a little mini giveaway, but without further ado, I'm going to hand you guys off to the voiceover. Alright, so for my cover page, as you can see, I decided to go with a cluster of different types of succulents, and this is done from an overhead angle. There's a bunch of different ways you can draw succulents and cacti. You can draw them in pots, you can draw them from the side. I decided to go for the overhead angle. I am going to be playing around with a bunch of different methods of drawing cactus throughout the month with my theme, like playing around with my weekly spreads and everything, so you guys will eventually see me experimenting over my Instagram or whatnot, and I will also kind of try to do some mini tutorials because I know that these can get kind of tricky to draw. I used my Tombow dual brush pen in the shade 192 to color in the succulents. This is kind of going to be my accent color for the duration of this month, and I thought it was a nice faded earthy green that resembled succulents very well, and it's not too in your face, which is perfect for me. I tried to add some blue in as well because I know that there are different colors of succulents, but then I realized that I didn't like it, so I went only with some subtle touches of the blue and tried to add in some darker greens as well to give it a little more depth, because since there is a lot of coloring, I didn't want it to look too flat. At this point, I thought it looked a little too busy for my liking, so I added a thicker black outline around the main parts of the succulent, and it really just finishes off the cover page and makes it pop a little better. And here's where I made a mistake. I think I just went a little crazy with the coloring, and I decided to color the background of the September green, which I just didn't like how it looked because the September didn't stand out. So I had to write September out on some cream paper, cut it out, and then glue it on. I actually liked how this looked in the very end because it stands out a lot better and you can read it more. So there's a little trick for y'all. Next up is my monthly log. Since I am going back to school this month, I decided to go back to my standard calendar layout just because I will be able to fit in a ton of different events in each day, and I'll also get to put in my project and test assignment due dates. I just like having the larger squares for this. Just in case you guys are curious, each of the little squares in the calendar is 6x6 dots in the Loish term notebook, and then in total I have 5 rows and of course 7 columns. I put the numbers in the top left corner really small so I can maximize the amount of space I had to write down events, and then for the title I used my Tombow dual brush pen again. This time I did the lettering with that brush pen instead of using the Tombow Fudenosuke brush pen. I still don't know how to pronounce that, but basically I'm just saying that I have the green lettering as the heading and I added a black drop shadow. If you guys watched my 25 bullet journal hand lettering video, then you would know that I love adding drop shadows to my lettering because it just makes your lettering stand out. As usual, I had to do my YouTube growth tracker in the bottom left corner. There was just an empty space waiting for me to fill it with this. But if you don't do YouTube, you can always just fill this space with a goals section or a motivational quote. And then of course I added the succulents growing from the corners. I love the way that this looks. It kind of frames the calendar really well. Moving on to my trackers. For my mood tracker, I'm so excited about this. I wanted to try out something a little bit different. I've been seeing a ton of people on Instagram do their own unique style of trackers, and I wanted to put my own spin on it. So I made a wheel with 30 sections because that's how many days there are in September. I wrote mood tracker in the center, of course, and then basically what is going to happen is that on every single day, starting from the top, I'm going to fill it in with a color that coincides with my mood. At the bottom, I'm going to be making a legend that shows me what color means what mood. So like the darker color is more upset, and then the lighter color is more happy. And then at the end of the month, you'll be able to see the full wheel of your mood. Hopefully it'll be happier than sad, but I thought this was a fun way to show your mood tracker and also add a little bit of creativity into your trackers, because I was getting a little tired of the chart method. It just looked a little boring to me. So this was my way of spicing things up so that I can stay motivated to actually fill in my bullet journal. You guys know I always preach that if you're bored of your bullet journal or if you're finding it hard to keep up with, then try switching things up. But yeah, so you can see that I added the succulents growing from the background of the mood tracker. They ended up kind of looking like flowers. Succulents are just very hard to draw. You have to get them perfectly right or else they'll look like flowers. But I still like the way this mood tracker looks, and I'm not going to start over or anything. On the other page, I did my habit trackers. For my habit tracker, I didn't do anything crazy. I just did what I normally do, which was kind of the chart graph method where you fill in the box. So I just drew a line and wrote the numbers all the way down, and then wrote the habits that I wanted to track down the side of it. As you will see shortly, I added succulents coming out from the bottom of the tracker. I know I drew a lot of the same style of succulents for this theme, and you guys voted on succulents / cacti. I didn't really draw a lot of cacti, but hopefully I will incorporate those into my future weekly spreads for this month. Maybe I'll do a mini plan with me video where I set up a spread for the week and I do actual cacti, but it's just because this theme is kind of broad and there's a lot of different things that you can do, but I wanted to keep things cohesive for this video. Moving on to my next tracker, which is my expense tracker, I just have my regular chart layout, but then on the other side, I decided to do a budget tracker, which is something that I took from my bullet journaling for students video. If you haven't seen that, it explains everything about how to use this tracker, but I just did a mini version of that on this page because the one that I did over on that video was a double page spread, but I just wanted to do a single page one and kind of simplify it. I still have my different sections. I have groceries, school, entertainment, and miscellaneous, and then I have my ideal spending total budget over at the top. And then, as you can see, I have outlined all of the different weeks so I can keep track of how much I spent on what category. Finally, we have my weekly spread. Again, since I'm going back to school, I know I keep mentioning it, but it's fresh in my mind. The spread layout that I like to do for the week is a horizontal layout where I have my events at the top and then my tasks at the bottom. It gives me a ton of space to write out all of my to-do list tasks as well as my events, and I just find it the most efficient for school, for me personally. Again, everything is personal, but really this works so well for me, and I highly recommend it if you're a student or even if you're just a busy human being in general. Maybe you're a mom and you want to plan out like your meals or something. I'm not a parent, so I don't really know what's necessary, but you guys get what I'm trying to say. This layout is just very flexible because you can divide the sections up into different categories depending on your lifestyle. Just like my monthly log, I added the succulents growing from the corners of the spread in order to frame it and add a little pop of color. And at the bottom, I added a goals section and a next week section. So here is the final flip through of my bullet journal for September with the theme of succulents, which you guys chose for me. I hope this lived up to your expectations. I'll be posting more of my weekly spreads over on my Instagram. Alright guys, so that's all for my September plan with me and bullet journal setup. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, you already know what to do. Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe down below. But now for the quick little giveaway, I wanted to just do a little something special, especially since school is coming up and I don't know, I wanted to treat y'all a little bit. So all of the rules will be down in the description box below, and the prize pack will be a bunch of different supplies that I personally love. These are some of my personal favorites. This video is not sponsored, by the way. This is just some of my favorite products that I want to share with you guys. So the winner is going to be getting a bunch of Fineliners. These are the Sakura Pigma Micron Fineliners. These ones are the felt tip ones, which I used in this video actually. I love these so much. They're some of my favorites. And then these are the plastic nib version, which are a little bit more durable. Then we also have some fun, funky supplies. These are the Jelly Roll Moonlight 10 gel pens. And then finally, the winner is going to be getting some Koi watercolor brush pens. They're perfect for calligraphy and hand lettering. So if you want a chance to win this little mini prize pack, again, all of the details will be in the description box below. It is international, so my international friends, you do not need to worry. But yeah, I think that's everything. So I hope you guys have an awesome day, and I will talk to you in my next video. Bye, guys.